Now, there are a lot of issues that we had seen in the last class. What happens if you have channel state information availability, and based on the Chernoff bound, we have obtained the limit of higher SNR assuming gamma I are identically distributed with gamma I is equal to gamma and so on and so forth. We got a probability of error function, that is probability of error is approximately equal to alpha times into beta to the power of beta m gamma bar divided by 2 whole to the power of minus m, something like that. Now, we have done all those things, but there is something everywhere that is, we'll start with the transmit diversity approach, and I'll also introduce you to maximum likelihood decoding, and with Alamote coding, how beautifully you can organize in order to get a transmit diversity which is almost near equal to your MRRC. Now, first thing, we will start with.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Can you start the recording?
What happened?
Can you record this lecture?
Sorry, I'm not audible.
Sir, can you record the lecture, please?
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'll do that. Yes. Cool. Alamote coding or Alamote space-time coding. Now, what is this Alamote coding? Why it is required? The first thing is, this Alamote coding is used for achieving transmit diversity. To achieve transmit diversity, we will go with transmit diversity. Means, there are more than one transmit antenna at the transmitter side. That is your transmit diversity. Now, do we get the same performance as that of our MRRC or MRC? That we have to think about it. Now, are we compromising on reducing the computational complexity? That's the idea of Alamote scheme. Now, first thing is, in Alamote coding, you need, the design starts like this. You need only CSIR. Okay, no CSIT is required. No CSIT. Okay, only CSIR is required. No CSIT is required. Means we don't want any channel state information at the transmitter. I'll draw a block diagram so that you will get to know it clearly. Okay. Second point about Alamote scheme is it does not involve any bandwidth expansion. That is the main thing. Any bandwidth expansion. Okay, it does not involve any bandwidth expansion. Very important point. And if you don't have these two, if you don't have CSIT and if you are not increasing the bandwidth, then obviously third point is it's very clear that the coding scheme or the space-time coding scheme or whatever scheme that you are going to design will be a low complexity or low computational complexity approach. How it can be a low complex approach, that we have to design. And it is also very important for us to compare any transmit diversity scheme with MRC, or generally MRC is also known as MRRC, because maximal receive ratio combining or maximal ratio receive combining, interchangeably you can write it. Okay, MRC is also termed as maximal receive ratio combining. So it is very correct, and it has to be done like it has to be compared to MRRC. Any transmit diversity scheme you design, it has to be compared with MRRC technique, since MRRC is the optimal technique, isn't it, sir? This is optimum. optimum perfect receive combining technique that we have seen, because of the additive nature of SNRs, and you will transmit everything and you will combine. Now, what are we trying to achieve out here? We are trying to understand the performance of a maximum likelihood. Now, for the sake of understanding in this class, you assume what is max. I'll give you a brief introduction to maximum likelihood in this class. Okay, in the next class, that optimization thing, argmax, whatever I had discussed, no? In the second or third session, I think in the second session, with respect to this, I will explain what is maximum likelihood. This is not machine learning, this is maximum likelihood. Now, if I talk about maximum likelihood, I will say something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. This is my rectangular QAM that I have used. Rectangular QAM I have used. Please observe here. If I've used equally, it has to be placed equally. Okay, means the distance between individual points remains the same. Okay, it's a rough figure what I have drawn, but it will be equal. Okay. Now, what I mean is the distance between these 2 points will be equal, these 2 points will be equal, these 2 points will be equal, again same. This is your rectangular 16 QAM modulation scheme. Now, what does this maximum likelihood deals, or what does it talk about is, suppose if you use 2 transmit antennas, or even for a single transmit antenna, let's say, let's talk about single transmit antenna. If I transmit something like 00, 11, 10 and 01, these are all the symbols that I need to transmit. Let's say these are all the 8 symbols that I need to transmit, and I'll be given an opportunity to use 16 QAM constellation points. Okay, means 2 to the power of 4 bits of information will be transmitted. Means I can group 4 bits of information from 16 QAM. That's what it means. You know all these from digital communications. Now, 1001, let's say this is my 0000 and this is my 1111. Somewhere here 1001, somewhere here we will get, here or here we will get. Let's assume this is 1001. May not be. You can place it in your own order based on the minimum Euclidean distance of separation between the 2 points. Now, what is happening here? Now I need to transmit 1001. Now what does it mean? It means this point I'm transmitting, isn't it so? Now this is the distance from the origin. This is the distance from the origin. Now if I transmit this point, the ML is also called as the brute force. Brute force means now at the receiver, at this point, you don't know what the transmitter has transmitted. Now you will start comparing. Observe this point. This is very important. Now from all these 16 points, let's say this point has been radiated. Now this point somewhere it might have shifted here to this point or somewhere here. This point might have shifted here or here because of noise. It will not go somewhere here. It will not go somewhere here. No, it is not possible. If it goes somewhere there, then your system is a useless system. Okay, that depends on a lot of characteristics. Now you assume because of noise, my system, my point, what I have received is somewhere here or here. Now the receiver won't know what exactly has been transmitted. It will start to compare. Within no time, it will start to compare this point, the radiated point that is means this point, with all the remaining 15 points, including the point which has been transmitted. Okay, suppose if this point lies somewhere here, then you have suboptimal or optimal detection by using windowing techniques. You can do that, but ML doesn't describe all those things. Spear decoding describes that, but ML describes you compare this point with all other points and make sure that which gives you a minimum Euclidean distance of separation between these 2 points. That is called the maximum likelihood function. That is the maximum likelihood, means that is the maximum likelihood of the point that has been detected. Are you all with me? If you don't understand this, then it would be difficult. Now, I'll give you one more example. Now, this point has been radiated. Because of noise, this point has been shifted somewhere here or here. Now, my ML compare this point, what it has been radiated from this to this point, to this point, to this point, to this point, every point. Okay. Now, my symbol lies somewhere here. Now, I have to calculate the Euclidean distance from this point to this point, this point to this point, somewhere here. Like all these 15 points will be compared as well as this 16 point, because you don't know what is the point that you have transmitted. Okay. Now, the minimum distance between these 2 points will be the maximum likelihood detection. There could be another possibility that this point may come here and it may give you next nearest point. Then obviously, if it happens, then there will be a threshold which is set based on the amplitude and phase of the point which you have radiated, and based on that you will detect the symbol. There could be errors. Sometimes there could be errors because of the large noise and the minimum separation between these 2 points. So that can be compensated, that can be eradicated by definitive combining techniques, and you can using MRC combining, then maximum likelihood will reduce this kind of effect. Okay. Now, what is the difficulty that you have seen here? As and when the QAM constellation points, as and when the QAM constellation order of the modulation increases, the Euclidean distance between the points will be very small. When the Euclidean distance between the points is very small, the detection becomes more complex, isn't it so? That's why you cannot use something like 1024 QAM or something like that in order to obtain a spectral efficiency of 10 BPC. You have to avoid this because it needs a lot of SN. And at the same time, the points which are placed are very close to each other. There could be a possibility of error. There could be possibility of error. Okay. Now, this is your maximum likelihood function. Okay. That is minimum distance decoding. Now, you have to understand the performance of ML detection applied to the output of a MRRC combiner as well as for Holomote. Next step is to understand for a 2x1, for a 2x1 transmit diversity approach, how the performance varies. Okay, performance varies. By comparing it with 1x2 MRRC or MRC, now you have to compare these two and you have to give a conclusion based on these two. By comparing these results with MRRC, and we can always demonstrate the Holomote coding achieves the it should achieve. We have to design in such a way that it achieves the same diversity order. Forget about the performance. Performance could be less or could be more, could be better, or could be worse, but it should achieve a diversity of order which is equivalent to MRRC, that is 2. It should achieve a diversity of order 2. So what are all the advantages if you can do that? Instead of 1x2, what are all the advantages? 2x1, low complex, that is it. Okay. Advantages in terms of transmit diversity scheme and receiver diversity scheme is, now this requires a lot of, usually receiver should be handy, but in case of transmitter can have abundant power. That is what it has been assumed so far. So that's why it looks like this. Okay, fine. Briefly, I'll write MRRC with the, all those things, but I'll change the notation and I'll write the MRRC so that it would be easy for us to compare. Okay. First, my MRRC is maximal ratio combining, or MRRC. Okay. Is something like this. This is my transmitter. Okay. And let's say this is my receiver. I will take something like 3 receivers or 4 receivers or whatever, NR number of receivers. This is my R1, R2, and I will write this as RNR receiver. Okay. Now what does it mean? It means this is my H1, This is my H2 and this is my HNR. Okay, communication system that has been. And what do you have here? You have a combiner over here. You have a combiner over here, and this is combiner. Okay, combiner will give you S tilde, that is the estimated. Okay, invariably if you want to write somewhere around like this, I equal to 1 to MR or NR, 1 to MR or NR, this is AI into RI. Okay, AI into RI. So received signal into AI, AI is the gain that you have transformed. The combiner is, it's pretty simple. Now the output of a combiner S tilde consists of linearly weighted combination of the inputs. That is what we had done. We have understood so far. So S tilde becomes equal to AI into Ri. AI is the complex weights that you know. Alpha I had written earlier. Okay, it is one and the same. Okay. Now what is Ri? Ri denote the received signal on each diversity branch or each diversity channel also you can call. Each diversity branch or each diversity channel. Okay, that is one thing. Now this is pretty simple. This is what we have understood. So S tilde can be written as, S tilde can be written in terms of H. If you want to write, it becomes, if you want to write, it becomes something like I is equal to 1 to NR, HI conjugate, HI complex conjugate into RI. This is one thing. Now this, whatever the second equation HI conjugate into RI, whatever I have written, no, results in the signal to noise ratio at the output. So you have written it in terms of the final SNR, you have written it in terms of summation I is equal to 1 to NR, that is M gamma or gamma bar, whatever. Now, in addition to all these things, in addition to performing the combining operation, a diversity, if you design a diversity scheme, okay, a diversity scheme or a diversity receiver, if you design, it should also possess and it should be capable of operating on the output of the combiner. You remember this this word, actually, I don't know whether it is there in the book or not, but if you are designing this communication system, okay, remember this. In addition to performing the combining operation, a diversity receiver should be capable of, it should be capable enough to operate on the output of the combiner, in order to do what? In order to tilde, estimate the information symbols that has been radiated from the transmitter. Okay, that is very important. How do you do this? In the last class, after the class, some students had doubt of what is the channel state information availability. How do you exactly do that? Can you write a block diagram and all, they have asked. So let me briefly write it out for MRRC and then I'll compare it with Alamoti, how exactly it is different. Now I'll write this as a transmitter and this is S, that is my signals, S1, S2, S3, S4 and so on and so forth up to, let's say, SM, okay, or SN, whatever it is. Now I have a receiver over here. You assume this channel as a relay channel or Pricean channel. I'll assume this as NR cross NT or NT cross NR. Then I have to take the conjugate NT cross NR relay, okay, relay, because of NLOS communication. Okay, now this is what I have. Now two transmit, let's write with two transmitters, then you will understand better. Okay, now I have some, that is my AWGN noise N1 or whatever N1 I have transmitted, that is getting added N1, or anyway we will be writing Alamoti, so we will use Z1 also. Okay, next here I will write it as N2 or Z2. So let me change the equation so that it will be clear. If I write the same equations, then it becomes complicated. So you may not be able to understand also sometimes. This is my R1, this is my R2, okay. And here I have channel estimation. Okay, channel estimation. How do you do that? Now you have something like what is happening at this end will be compared here and will be complex channel gains will be given here as H1 conjugate, and similarly what is at the receiver channel estimation happens will be given here as something like H2 conjugate. That's all. Channel estimation at the receiver means this. This is the component. This is the component. Channel estimation or channel state information availability at the receiver based on the channel estimation device, or how do you estimate the channel? That is what needs. At the receiver, what you have, the complex gains. Now this has to be combined and given into a maximum likelihood decoder, MLD, maximum likelihood decoder, and then you estimate S tilde what you have transmitted. Okay, this is the generalized block diagram of a I can call it as a 1x2 MRRC or MRC receiver with ML detection. A receiver with ML detection. Very simple, very simple. Only thing is how you have combined, what you have added, what is the channel estimation. Pre-detection, post-detection, anything you can consider. Pre-detection if you want, you can do it. Post-detection if you want, you can do it. I have told you in the last class what are all the advantages of pre-detection combining and post-detection combining, which one is less complex, so on and so forth. You can do that. Okay. Now this is the generic block diagram. Now what is this? This is my, let's say this is my figure 2. What does this figure 2 shows? It shows a block diagram of 1x MRRC scheme. In our case, this is 1x2 MRRC scheme because RX1, RX2. Now what is happening here? Look at this carefully. If you see, during some symbol period, okay, a symbol S has been transmitted. S has been transmitted, that is S is equal to S1, S2, S3, so on and so forth. Those are all suffixes, SM. And 0 mean additive white Gaussian noise has been added at that instant, N1 and N2, while at the receiving end. See, from the figure, it has to be clear for us that the transmitter and two receivers undergo independent uncorrelated fading. H1, H2 are different. That is what we have understood. Now, how do you write? Received symbol is equal to H into S plus N, HI into S plus N before combiner. Now after combiner, what happens? That we have to see. Now look at this. Based on the figure, what we have seen, to receive the signals Y is equal to HX plus N. No, in the same format, HS plus N or HX plus N. Now in the same format, two received signals are given by RI is equal to HIS S plus, I'll write it as Z. Okay, ZI. Where I is equal to 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth before combiner. Okay, so on and so forth up to N or up to K or whatever you write. Okay, before combiner. You know this. Okay. Next, at the output of the combiner, what happens? You are estimating S tilde or S cap or S tilde, whatever it is, that is equal to H1 conjugate into R1 plus H2 conjugate into R2. I'll write this as equation A. Okay. Now what does it mean? At the output of the combiner, S tilde H1 conjugate R1, output of the combiner will give you H1 conjugate R1 plus H2 conjugate R2. Now S tilde can be written as something like H1 conjugate into what is R1? R1 is, if you substitute I is equal to 1 here, H1S plus Z1, it becomes similarly H2S plus Z2, it becomes so. If you substitute R1 and R2 over here, what happens to your S tilde? S tilde is equal to mod of H1 square plus mod of H2 square into S plus H1 conjugate Z1 plus H2 conjugate Z2. Very simple, no complex mathematics. I will call this as B, I'll call this as C. Okay. Now for a 1 cross NR MRRC system, this equation C, what happens to this equation? This becomes something like S tilde, a generalized equation, you know, summation I is equal to 1 to NR mod of HI square into S plus the noise component. I is equal to 1 to NR H conjugate, HI conjugate, or you call it as H1 or H2, whatever, based on what you have how many receive branches you have. So equation D, what it shows, S tilde has the form what? You have a constant into a signal plus noise component. This is pretty easy for us to understand what is this. You have a constant term, you have a signal term, you have one noise term. So maximum likelihood becomes very simple because of this sum term, with a separated noise term. That is the crux of this work. Even if we have NR minus 1 channel gains, it is still possible to detect the symbol S from S tilde. It is pretty easy for you to detect this S from S tilde because of the low complexity. Because even if we have NR minus 1, like I equal to 1 to NR minus 1 channel gains, it is still possible to detect symbol S. Now, what was the final equation that you have written? Final equation was something like SNR or gamma bar or gamma whatever is equal to summation I is equal to 1 to NR HI square mod of HI square into expectation of S square, correct? Expectation of S square divided by sigma n square or sigma z square. Here in our case, we will write it as sigma z square. What is this? This is variance of the noise term, assuming that noise is uncorrelated. So this is what we have studied so far. Okay, this is what we have understood. This equation you remember. That's all. I'll try to rub this out, and I'll start with the same thing with transmitter side. Now you have understood, I believe you have understood all these concepts, and now instead of 1 cross 2 MRRC, we'll start with the approach 2 cross 1 MISO system. 2 cross 1 MISO system. Okay, MISO system, multi-input single output system. Now with this, we have to achieve the transmit diversity by doing something. How do you do that? We can achieve the transmit diversity. This is what Shivas Alamoti said. Okay, Alamoti in his seminal paper, he said you can achieve the transmit diversity by pre-multiplying the symbol to be transmitted. Very important point. Very important point. Pre-multiplying the symbol. Pre-multiplying the symbol that has to be transmitted by complex numbers A1 and A2 or X1 and X2, whatever, at the 2 transmitter. Now what does it mean? It means the received signal at the single receiver stage. Now I have 2 transmit, 1 receive antenna. Now what is that? This H1 is different, this H2 is different, uncorrelated. Now I have what? Transmitter 2, transmitter 1, and I have only receiver 1. What does it mean? The received signal at the single receiver is therefore, how do you write that? R, let's say R is the received signal, that is, I will call this as H11 received at the first receiver with respect to transmitter. This is H11 means that, okay, into again A1S plus H12 A2S plus noise, AWGN noise. Now what is this H1J, H1I or H1J? This H1J is receiver and transmitter. First is the receiver and this is the transmitter, RT. If you change the order over here, you have to change everything and you have to write it here. Sorry, you have to change everything here. NT cross NR you have to write. Okay. Now, usually in a generic sense, H is considered to be NR cross NT. Okay, so we'll follow this fashion. That's all. Now, what does it mean? Channel response between the J transmitter J and 1 receiver. Okay, that is your receiver 1 and J number of transmitters. Okay, that's how you write it. Okay, this I will call it as some equation A, B, C, D, yeah, E. Okay, fine, whatever. Now to get similar performance as that of MRRC, like alpha I is equal to hi conjugate by hij norm j equal to 1 to a. This is the way you have to assume that A1 and A2 in such a way that you obtain the transmit diversity. Now, in order to obtain that MRRC performance or the diversity order, you have to pre-multiply in this fashion so that Aj equal to hi conjugate j divided by hi conjugate j divided by norm of hij. Okay. Now, with this, what have you understood? Now, clearly we can say that if you pre-multiply the points, you will get whatever transmit diversity. That's the idea what he has given. Now, what is the problem? Now, if you do this kind of stuff, you need something here. What is happening at this stage? What is happening at this stage? So that the pre-multiplying or whatever you are transmitting over here will be estimated. Means channel state information at the transmitter is required, and that has to be somehow it has to be communicated to the receiver so that the problem can be solved. No, that is not possible. No? The obvious problem with this solution in order to obtain this kind of stuff is this. Okay, fine, accepted. Now with this A1, A2, we can do something over here and we can make that happen. In order to obtain this diversity, which is equivalent to that of MRRC, you need CSIT. So we will try to avoid CSIT and we'll proceed. How do we do that? So even though this type of proposed technique, the transmit diversity technique, has the same performance of that MRRC, since our CSIT complexity is very much greater compared to CSIR. So this kind of simply transmitting gains, adding gains at the transmitter won't work. So we have to trade-off. We have to write a trade-off. What is the trade-off? Now the trade-off is something like this. In order to achieve transmit diversity, use very important aspect from the paper, from Alamoti's paper, is in order to achieve, you can note it down, in order to achieve transmit diversity, use more than one symbol period. Use more than one symbol period. One symbol period. What does it mean? It means you're transmitting something from time t slot t, and again after transmitting this, you're transmitting a t plus delta t, you're transmitting some other symbol. We will see what does it mean. One symbol period to transmit S. So use more than one symbol transmit period. More than one symbol transmit period. Use more than one symbol period. What does it mean? Now let's take an example. You please try to understand this concept. This is very, this is the crux of your work. Okay. So let's say if we were to transmit symbol S on transmitter 1. Okay. During first time symbol T1. And then transmit S from transmitter 2 during symbol period T1 plus delta T. Okay. Then the received signal, how does it look like? How does it look like? Now this is my period 1. So R1 is equal to H11S plus Z1. R2 is equal to H12S plus Z. Okay. Now this is similar to the equation B, whatever I had written, or equation C, This is equation similar to these two equations, B and C. What does it mean? It means you have used two time slots, period 1 and period 2, because you have only one receiver, but the received symbol H11S plus Z1 and H12S plus Z2. This equation is similar to equation D that you have seen. What is that equation D? Equation D is Ri is equal to Hi plus Zi. Correct? R1 is equal to H1 plus Z1, R2 is equal to H12 S plus Z2. So mathematically it may have similarity. The only exception is the subscript you have here, and you have two different time intervals. What happened in case of MRRC? In MRRC, I had two receivers, but in case of my design here, I have two symbols. That is the crux. Okay. The only exception is to use the subscript and refers to the received number. Okay, the received number. Okay. Now, what is the advantage of this idea? We have not understood what is this, but we have segregated into two symbol intervals. Okay, what are all the advantages of doing this method? Now, first of all, it does not require CSIT because 2 time slots you have transmitted, and trade-off is that it takes 2 symbol periods to transmit 1 symbol. Okay, 2 symbol periods it takes to transmit 1 symbol or transmit 1 symbol S. Hence, the data rate will be divided by 2. That I'll show you how the data rate will be divided by 2. Now, the unique setup of Alamotti coding is that transmit diversity without sacrificing either of these, it achieves that R1, R2 with the diversity of order. How do you do that? How do you say that? Now, look at this. I will write it like this. This is my transmitter 1. Concentrate. This is my transmitter 2. Okay. This is my receiver. Every step I will write here. Every step from Alamotti's paper only. Okay. I have taken all these figures from Alamotti's paper. You can look into it, but it requires a little bit of basics to understand. Okay. S1 I have transmitted, S2 I have transmitted. What I have done is I have done something like S2 conjugate here and S1 conjugate here at the second time interval. Okay, what is this? This is my H11. Okay, what is this? This is my H12. Transmitter 1, transmitter 2. What I have over here is I have something like additive white Gaussian noise that is getting added Z1 of 1 and Z1 of 2. Okay. And after transmitting this, I have R1 of 1, R1 of 1, and R1 of 2. Received at time t. At time t, this is received at time t. This is received at time t plus ts or t plus delta s, t plus ts. Okay. Now, what happens after this? You can see something like, I'll write it over here. Okay. Now look at this. Now here what happens? No, here the symbol has been written like this. One symbol will be written like the channel estimator. The channel estimator here, that is the channel estimator, and then it will be given to a combiner. This will be given to a combiner. This is my combiner. This is my channel estimator. And once if I have a channel estimator, I do have what I do have. I have something like it is possible to write H11 and it is possible to write, because I have estimated the channel at the receiver, H12 I will write. And this is my combiner. So here below this I have to write, but I'll write it over here. Assume this is below. This is my ML detector, ML decoder or ML detector, and I will get estimates of S1 tilde and S1 and S2. Okay, S1 and S2, the estimates S1 cap or S1 tilde, whatever it is. Now this ML, this H1 is here, this H2 is here, and the S1 cap and S2 cap are here. Okay, S1 cap and S2 cap or S2 tilde. Now what is happening? Just analyze here. Now look at this. What is this R11, RI1? Now I will write it as RI1 is the receiver receiving at the time T. Then what is this RI2? RI2 is receiver receiving at the time instant T plus TS or T plus delta S. Similarly, what is ZI1? ZI1 noise at the signal, ZI1 or NI1 if you want to write. This is noise signal at receiver. Okay, at first receiver at time I or time T. Okay, time T. ZI2 is similar. ZI2 is at T plus TS. This is what has happened. Now you have S1, S2 and minus S2 conjugate. The most basic form of the Alamotti scheme is designed to transmit symbols using two transmit antennas to a single receive antenna. Okay. This technique involves 4 fundamental operations. Look at this figure. What are all the 4 fundamental operations? The signal, the space-time coding, space and time, because T plus TS, space and time. The symbol ST, that is space-time coding, and you have a combining, the diversity of H11, H12 has been combined, and you have a channel estimation over here. That is my CE, that is channel estimation, that is CSIR availability, and you have a maximum likelihood. What are all the 4 important aspects we have? We have ST coding, that is space-time coding. Space-time coding you have. Second point what you have is diversity combining. Third one what you have is, what is that? Channel estimation, CSIR. And what is the fourth one? ML detection. Obviously, MRRC also utilizes the same thing, but instead of space-time combining, there were 2 receive antennas. It is equivalent. Diversity is there, CSIR is there, MLD is there. Instead of 2 symbol periods in MRRC, what we have used? We have used 2 receive antennas. That's all. Means everything looks similar. What is the second thing that we are doing over here in Alamotti space-time coding? I'll draw a table in order to understand the concept what I have explained in terms of T and T plus TS. This is one thing, this is another thing. Okay, this is, let's say this is my transmit time. Okay, I will call this as T, I will call this as T plus TS. Okay, this is my antenna 1, transmit antenna 1. This is my transmit antenna 2. What I have done? I have written it as S1 and S2. 2 different symbols have been transmitted from 2 antennas. Okay, now what I have done? I have used something like S2 conjugate and S1 conjugate here. Now, if you have studied linear algebra, you should be in a position to understand why I have used conjugates and the principle of minus S2 here. Now, if you have not understood that, then I'll give you a brief explanation for that. Now, whatever table T plus T and T plus TS shows the encoding of symbols S1 and S2 using Alamotti coding, at some instant of time S1 is transmitted at time T with transmit antenna 1 and symbol S2 is transmitted at from the second antenna. During the next symbol interval T plus TS, the symbol minus S2 conjugate and S1 conjugate are transmitted from antennas 1 and 2 respectively. Okay. So why is that? Norm you have studied. How do you improve what is that H1 square, H1 norm square, Frobenius norm square or L2 norm square? In order to obtain that, in order to maintain the orthogonality of the symbols that I have used, S1 and minus S2 conjugate, and similarly S2 and S1 conjugate, S1 to S1 conjugate, S2 to minus S2 conjugate, orthogonal to each other. This demonstration of Alamotti coding involves coding in space as well as in time dimensions. Now, this is the typical example of a space-time code, space-time coding, space-time code. Now apply the combining rule again from S1 and S2. Apply the same combining rule. If you apply the combining rule, let's say at the S1 tilde, at the, what is that? At the S1 tilde and S2 tilde. Okay, fine. S1 tilde. S1 tilde is equal to what? H11 conjugate into the received symbol R1 of 1 plus H12 into R1 conjugate of 2. And similarly, S2, what is this S2? S2 tilde is equal to, S2 is what? S2 is this R2. Okay, fine. S2 is equal to H12 conjugate into R11 plus minus of H11 into R1 conjugate at 2. So S2 tilde can be written as H12 conjugate R11 minus H11 R1 conjugate of 2. R1 conjugate of 2. Very simple. Very simple. Just combine. Now two combining rules instead of one. Two combining rules instead of one. Look at this. Look at this. H11, H12, H12 conjugate, H11. Now the same equation has been given in your Ampere-Goudsmit. That is your equation 7.35 and 7.36. Okay. In order to get to this equation, you need to understand all these things. Simply you can write a matrix HA. HA is equal to H1, H2, H2 conjugate and minus H1 conjugate. Both are one and the same. But why do you do that? You have to define a new vector that is H Hermitian of Y, because just it's an inverse operation. So this is the equation that what has given in your book. Now what does it mean? Two combining rules instead of one, MRRC rule. So two we have used compared with MRRC 1. Now Alamotti combining results in S1 tilde and S2 tilde, whatever two combined signals compared to one with MRRC. And one more important aspect is in Alamotti signal, from two different time slots are combined. Okay, that is why H11, H12 and H12 conjugate and H11 you have received are combined instead of two different receivers with MRRC. Okay, now what you have to do is compute this. Computing the received signals at T and T plus Ts, you will get a signal. Now let us assume the channel gains are constant. Channel gains are constant for two consecutive symbols. For two consecutive channel gains are constant. Usually it will be constant. Channel gains are constant for two symbols, two consecutive symbols. Okay, or symbol intervals. Now if you do that, what happens? R11 at the combiner will be approximately equal to R1T. I can write R1 at time interval T, that is equal to H11 S1 plus H12 S2 plus Z1 of 1. Correct? Similarly, if I write R1 at time instant 2 is approximately equal to R2 of T, that is equal to, oh sorry, not T, that is T plus Ts. T plus Ts, that will be equal to minus H11 S1 conjugate plus H12 into S1 conjugate again plus Z1 of 2. Now if you substitute this, okay, if you substitute in the previous equation, like if you substitute this R1 here and R1 conjugate here, okay, because of this, what you will get over here, S1 tilde will be equivalent to what? H11 conjugate. I missed H11 conjugate and yeah, H11 conjugate into the term, that is H11 S1 plus H12 S2. This is H11 S1 plus H12 S2 plus Z1. Similarly, if I have H12, I can write minus H11 S2 conjugate plus H12 S1 conjugate plus Z1 2 whole to the power, this is whole conjugate. So if you simplify this, if you simplify another 2-3 steps, if you simplify, S1 tilde will be equivalent to summation I is equal to 1 to 2 H1 comma I square into S1 plus H11 conjugate Z1 of 1 plus H12 into Z1 conjugate of 2. Okay. Similarly, if you write it for symbol S2, S2 will be equivalent to S2 tilde, or S2 is equal to summation I is equal to 1 to 2. This is mod of H1 comma J you can write, or I also you can write. Okay. H1I square S2 plus H12 conjugate, H12 conjugate into Z1 of 1 minus H11 Z1. So what are these equations? What are these two equations? It is equivalent to the equation, the combined signal S1 tilde and S2 are each function of only one transmit symbol. Now, in order to get S1, you have estimated that S1 tilde, after combining S1 tilde, in order to obtain that S1, you need to process all these things. I equal to 1 to 2, H1 I square. Look at the power. Look at this power. Look at this. What it shows? It keeps the diversity order same. Each combined symbol has the same form of MRRC and the same SNR expression also. If you go back to your equation, that is, what was that SNR equation for MRRC? If you remember, SNR is equal to summation I is equal to 1 to N or 1 to NR or 1 to MR mod of HI square into exponential of S square divided by sigma Z square or sigma N square. This is the equation for MRRC, right? You compare this, the same. The diversity order would remain the same. What does it mean? What does it mean? It means each combined symbol has the same form of MRRC, even from the transmitter, if you have two transmit and one receive antenna. And no CSIT has been used. Never CSIT has been used. Only CSIR is used. CSIR, channel estimation, combining, and the estimation is happening at the receiver, not at the transmitter. So I've reduced the computational complexity. The important attribute is that since two symbols are transmitted, every two symbol periods, the symbol rate is the same as it with MRRC. But CSIT is not required. But what is the drawback that you have received? What is the drawback that you have received from this? Look at the data rate. If you look carefully, if you look at the data rate, what happens here? If you write, this is for MRC, this is for MRC. If you write the gamma I or SNR for Alamotti scheme, how do you write? Forget about the every noise component. The received SNR corresponds to SNR of ZI, I will write, or ZI or NI, whatever. H1 square plus mod of H2 square into the symbol energy divided by 2 into N0. This is for your Alamotti. Why? This ES by 2 is because you have two transmit antennas. Equally you have to divide. The data rate is hard. What does it mean? The factor 2 in the denominator comes from the fact that SI is transmitted using half the total symbol energy, isn't it so? Now ES is the total energy, ES by 2 at transmitter 1, ES by 2. So what is happening? ES by 2 and not what is happening? At two symbol intervals, gamma I becomes H1 square plus H2 square mod square into ES divided by 2 and not. So the factor 2 comes from the fact that SI is transmitted using half the total symbol energy ES. So what does it mean to do for my SNR? SNR is thus, it is the sum of SNR at each branch divided by 2. At each branch, sum of the SNR at each branch divided by 2. ES by N0 into H1 square plus ES by N0 into H2 mod square. So this equation And if you're talking in terms of Zi, if you want Zi equation, Zi is h1 square mod h1 square plus mod h2 square into Si. Okay, plus the intended noise symbol, whatever that corresponds to the transmitted symbol, or this I'll write, wait, this is a symbol. I'll write it as I will write this as one of the transmitted symbol. One of the transmitted symbol. I will use some other letter. Let's say I will use Ki. Okay, Ki. Now this Ki represents one of the transmitted symbols. So Ki is equal to Hi square plus, and you will have this additive white Gaussian noise symbol also. Okay, I ranges from 1 to n. Now what does it mean? What does it mean? Now what have you done? Instead of transmitting simply by using CSIT, you have transmitted a T and T plus delta T, or T plus TS. S1, S2 you have done, and minus S2 conjugate and S1 conjugate you have done to provide that orthogonality between the symbols. And you have also calculated the SNR. SNR is equal to H1 square and mod H2 square divided by ES by N0, because this is time slot 1 and this is time slot 2 for two different antennas. Now S1, S2 will go at the same time, but at T plus TS, minus S2 conjugate and S1 conjugate will be transmitted. So the drawback of this scheme is it achieves, no doubt it achieves the diversity order 2, the maximum possible diversity for two antenna system. But if you carefully observe the SNR equation, the data rate reduces by it achieves only the what you call the array gain. Array gain reduces to 1. MRC, whereas in case of MRC, you have, since you have two receive antennas, one transmit and two receive antennas, in MRC what happens is array gain is also equal to 2, diversity gain is also equal to 2. What is this array gain? What is this diversity gain? Diversity gain you have understood. Array gain we will understand when we deal with a complete introduction to MIMO systems in the next class. But array gain of 1 in the sense you have only one receive antenna, but the gain produced by that will be equal to 1. So this can be generalized, but the advantage of this technique is you have to follow this pattern of two symbols. Follow this pattern of two symbols. So if you are not following this pattern of two symbols, like let's say H1S plus H2S between the ith transmit antenna and the jth transmit antenna, and if you don't have those orthogonal symbols that are transmitted, the diversity gain may look like it too in the transmitter if because of 2 rows and 1 column, or 2 rows and if you use 2 cross 2 for LMOT, 2 rows and 2 columns. If you don't maintain this orthogonality between the symbols, then the rank of the matrix will drop. Again, array gain will drop. Okay. Now, straightforward extension is not available for LMOT scheme. Only 2 cross 2 can be implemented with the diversity order 2. But if you want an extensive study how 4G and 4G LTE advanced architecture uses for a 4 cross 4 system, how methodically they use this in correlated environments, whereas in the last class I had given the example of a tunnel and the underground system where the rank automatically drops. In those situations, LMOT scheme can be employed. LMOT scheme can be employed in order to obtain at least a minimum diversity gain of 2 with a array gain of 2 also, but sometimes because of array gain you don't get, generally you don't get array gain, means the coding gain you don't get it. So diversity order 2, if you are extending it to 4 cross 4, then approximately at least a diversity order of 3 can be maintained by reducing 1 rank instead of getting a rank is equal to 1. So this kind of setup is used in most of the in most of the systems which use even 4G for that matter. So this is one method of realizing, one way of realizing how exactly these things can be thought of, and transmit diversity gain can be obtained even in the absence of channel state information at the transmitter. So this is about channel unknown at transmitter for a 2x1 system. For a 2x1 system. Same extension can be done for 2x. You have to do it. Okay. You have to do it. 2x2 system. I'll give you a figure. Okay. Try to calculate S1, S2 tilde from the figure. Now, how do you write it? How do you write it? Just.
So before we move forward, I have one question.
Yeah.
So for this whole concept, you introduce a assumption here that channel will remain same in T1 and T1 plus delta.
Channel, no, symbol period. No? That I talked about symbol period.
Yes, sir.
S1, S2 symbol period.
But the channel will remain same. The behavior.
Channel will be static for symbol period S1, T1 and T2. Yeah.
Yes, sir. My question is like how much of this assumption is practical? Like if I try to implement this in practical terms, then what is that?
One second. Within a second, how many bits of information that you can send in a realistic system?
So,
how many bits of information? Million. At least 10 Mbps, 5 Mbps, 2 Mbps.
Yes, sir.
Correct. There you go. I've answered your question. I'm talking about the time duration T1 and T2. I'm not talking about the symbol or the bits that I have to transmit within a second. You can transmit 100,000 symbols, 100,000 bits within a short duration of time. You got confused because you thought the channel would be static throughout the duration. No. T1, T2 remains the same. You can transmit any number of information provided that it should be orthogonal to each other. S1, S2 conjugate and minus S1, minus S2 and S2 conjugate, that you have to make sure that. You can vary that also. Now, your question can be reframed in a different way. Your question could be something like this. If you have two transmit antennas and if the channel is fast fading, then you need a different coding mechanism with respect to this space-time coding that comes under the assumption of space-time block coding analogy. Space-time block coding analogy. For our systems like 1x2, 2x1 or 2x2, or even for that matter 4x4, you can go with any number of this kind of 2x2 system you can directly implement, not a problem. But your question is valid only in case of fading channels where you have a lot of iterations have to be performed. Suppose if you have, let's say the channel is static only for say something like 100 symbols or 1000 symbols or something like that, then your question is valid. Then you cannot go with a straightforward Alamoti technique. Then you have to implement this STBC. Okay. Okay, fine. Now his question is very valid because of the practical perspective, but you need a little bit of error correction coding for in case of our fast fading channel. If you want a detailed explanation, there is one thing called as Srinath's STBC. Srinath STBC, one of the most awesome STBCs I have come across in my life. Srinath's STBC. Is Srinath and Sundarajan has published a paper in 2011 for STBC, low complexity decoder for space-time block code, which preserves full rank even for a 4x4 system. Amazing STBC. Unfortunately, I cannot discuss all those things here. Srinath's STBC is one of the top class STBCs where this is simply awesome. Awesome means awesome. Awesome is also a too smaller word. Srinath's STBC will provide array gain of 4 and diversity gain of 4, and it will give you a wonderful improvement. You will get a 4x4 system with a 8 BPCU at even in case of dense correlated fading channels. It will work for slow fading, fast fading, frequency selective. Amazing STBC. You can look into it. Paper. He's from IISc. Srinath's STBC is 2011 paper. Low complex decoder for space-time block codes. And if you want a straightforward implementation from 2 cross 2, 2 cross 2 to 4 cross 4, there is something called as space-time wireless communication systems by Aragyaswamy Paulraj and Rohit Nabar. There is a book called Space-Time Wireless Communications by Aragyaswamy Paulraj and Rohit Nabar. He has given Alamoti 2 cross 1, 2 cross 2, and a straightforward increment, or you can, if you go for improved 4 cross 4, how you can produce the same performance and the diversity order with an array gain. So you can look into this. You can look into these two techniques, where these two books and papers, and you'll come to know the essence of how you can improve the performance of 2 cross 2 to 4 cross 4 and so on and so forth. Now I'll give you a brief block diagram. With that we will finish this Alamoti. Now I want you to calculate it for 2 cross 2 Alamoti system. That will give you a wonderful improvement. Then 2 cross 2, you have to compare it with 1 cross 4 MRRC. Okay. Now, before writing this, remember this plot. This is my ABR. This is my SNR. Okay. Let's say this is my 10 to the power of minus 5. This is my 10 to the power of minus 1. Let's say this is my 15 dB point. This is my 20 dB point. No diversity will somewhere go up to 40. No diversity. Let's say I'll go with 1 cross 2 MRRC, somewhere around 18 dB or 19 dB, maybe 20 dB, let's say 20 dB. And if I use this 2 cross 1, you will get somewhere around here 22 to 23 dB. Okay, this is my 2 cross 1 Alamoti. Now you can argue by saying that what is the fun in doing this? You have lost somewhere around 3 dB, but it is better than somewhere around 15 dB, better than no diversity scheme. Okay, 3 dB, 50% more power I may need, but I don't want any CSIT at the transmitter. That is one advantage, and it is low complexity, low complex. Now, all the time receiver cannot be increased. My mobile cannot have something like 64 antennas and all. So in order to avoid that fact, I will go with, for a handheld devices, I have to go with a transmit diversity approach only. Now, if I go with 2 cross 2, what would be the performance? Performance will be somewhere around here, 1 cross 4, MRRC somewhere around 13 dB or 14 dB, in fact, let's say. And if I go with 2 cross 2, this will be around 16.8 dB. That is my 2 cross 2 Alamoti. So you have to compare like this only. Okay, number of antennas should remain the same. 1 cross 2, 2 cross 1, 1 cross 4, 2 cross 2, something like that. Then 1 cross 4, 2 cross 2 Alamoti. You cannot have something like 1 cross 2 MRRC and 2 cross 2 Alamoti. You cannot claim Alamoti performs better. No. Even with that, because of the orthogonality, it is maintaining decoding symbols. The low complexity decoders are very easily, they can be installed on the handheld device. Now, I'll give you this is how the performance looks like. Okay. Now, I will write a block diagram. You please try to calculate S1 and S2, and a simple problem of 2 cross 1 I'll give you, you can solve. Once you solve the problem, you will understand. Okay. This is my S1, this is my S2, this is my S2 minus S2 conjugate, and this is S1 conjugate. Interchangeably you can use minus S1 conjugate you can use, and S2 conjugate also you can use. Not a problem. But both should be orthogonal to each other. That's all. Now I have 2 transmit antennas. Now I will write 2 receive antennas. 2 receive antennas. Receiver 1, receiver 2. This is my transmit 1, transmit 2. Everything would remain the same. Here, what I have, this is my Z2 of 1, Z2 of 2. Here I have Z1 of 1, Z1 of 2, correct? Z1 of 2, AWGN. And here I have R1 of 1, R1 of 2. Here I have R2 of 1, R2 of 2. And give it to a channel estimator. I will write it like this and give it to a simple channel estimator device, channel estimation device at the receiver, and use a combiner here, and you have to get channel estimation here also, right? Channel estimator here. So what happens here? Here you will get 2. Here you will get 2. What does it mean? It means here you will get H11, H12 you will get. Here H21, H22 you will get. So you give it to an ML detector. ML, I'll write it like this. ML detector, obtain S1 and S2. Get S1 and S2 from this 2, where this will give me 2 symbols. What are those 2 symbols? H21 and H22. H21, H22 you will get. Here what does it give? H11, H12 you will get. And combiner, what it will give? S1 tilde, S2 tilde. That's all, very simple. Now first find out what is S1 tilde and S2 tilde, and then R1 of 1, R1 of 2, R2 of 1, R2 of 2, and then find out, and then try to find out what happens to your S1 tilde and S2 tilde in terms of the Alamoti combined output. Okay, you can find out S1 tilde and S2 tilde, not S1 and S2. You can find out S1 tilde and S2 tilde, that would be fine. Okay, and the maximum likelihood demodulation of Alamoti is little complex because it needs that argument min and all. So you don't find out this S1 tilde, S2 tilde similar to the one what I have found out here for this S1 tilde, S2 tilde. If you find out, it's fine. Okay, now you have to write this is something, this is something, and here also this is something, this is something. H11, H12, H21, H22. Now, if you can do all these things, you will be in a better position to understand what is happening at every stage. So then we can combine, okay, what has happened with Y1 and Y2. So in the next class, I'll try to solve a simple problem, okay, and then I'll definitely show you what is the ABER versus ABER versus SNR for a 2x1 Alamoti system, and if it is increased from 2x NR, how ABER versus SNR will change, and how to talk about multi-input single output channel, and so on and so forth. Now for a meso system, just try to solve. If it is feasible, you just try to solve. Otherwise, in the next class, we will try to solve it. My channel gains are something like this: 1 minus 2j into symbol S1, S2 plus, okay, symbol S1, S2 plus additive white Gaussian noise. You represent this as NRZ, whatever. Okay, NRZ. Okay, this is my Y. Is it possible for us to decode whether this 2 plus I and 1 minus 2 plus I and 1 minus 2I, whatever we have transmitted, is it orthogonal? Is it orthogonal? Is it orthogonal? How do we check that? If Y is given as 2 plus I, 1 minus 2I, S1, S2, this has to be J or this has to be J. Okay, whatever. Okay. How to decode symbols S1 and S2? Is it orthogonal, and how to decode S1 and S2? Okay, that we have to see. So it is a simple correlation operation only you can apply, and you can obtain this, not a problem. But this kind of problems may be asked in the examination, so that show that this symbol by using Alamoti scheme, whether this is orthogonal, And if it is orthogonal, find out x1 and x2 are s1 and s2. Okay, find out s1 and s2 using any method, any correlation method or something. Okay, so I think I'll stop at this stage because you have examination starts now. Let me take the attendance once. This is how Alamotti scheme has been designed. So you can look into it. One second. You can look into it. If you don't understand this Alamotti scheme by using by seeing your whatever Andrea Goldsmith book, then you can go and verify the transmit diversity approach by that Shiva's Alamotti paper only, but the paper is little hard to understand. So there are no other alternatives. Alamotti paper you can verify. If you simply write it as Alamotti paper in the Google, you will get a simple transmit diversity scheme for wireless communication 1998. Wireless transactions on wireless communication or transactions on vehicular communication. I don't remember that, but that's one of the wonderful papers that even from 1998 till 2019, still Alamotti scheme is being used in LTE means you just imagine the beauty of that. So you can look into this paper once, just read it casually, like how you read newspaper and all. Just read it casually. How much ever you understand. But whatever we had discussed, no, it is the gist of that paper. Generally, I don't go through books because of so many steps which are missed in the book. But if you look at the paper, you will come to know everything. Okay, just go through that paper once if you have time. That would be better for you. And that is it from my side. If you have any queries, and just read that once. And if you have any questions in the next class, we'll try to address that. Anything? Cool. If there are no questions, then we will stop the meeting here, and you can go write the exam. All the very best. Read the question properly, okay? I don't want you to score 5 on 5 everyone, but read the question before you answer, okay? Just try to read the question. Read the question first. Understand. I know you will not do all those things. You will simply copy, but read the question. Read the question before you answer something. Fantastic,
sir.
Yes, Yuvraj.
What will be the syllabus for the midterm exam?
Midterm exam till Alamotti we will have.
Okay, sir. Got it.
Till Alamotti from my part. I think they have covered, no? All of them have covered actually. Till Alamotti will have, Yuvraj. That would be better. That would be easy for your final exam also. Okay? Till Alamotti will have.
Got it, sir. Thank you.
Yes, cool. Sagar?
Yes, sir.
Anything? Sagar, anything? Any doubts?
No,
Anything? Cool. Yeah. Cool then. We'll stop the meeting now. You please go and write the exam. Okay. 1 or 2 minutes delay will be there sometimes because of the intermittent interconnection and internet and connectivity problems. Okay. Don't worry, it will come to you. Otherwise, message me. We will have extended time. Okay. I'll be watching here only. Okay. Fine.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye. Yeah, Vishwatma. Thank you. Good day. Bye.